Do it, buddy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blitz the Books. Mike, happy Wednesday. How's it going, buddy?
Happy Wednesday indeed. Happy hump day, as we say. Wade, life is good. Ready? Really? Week 10 already? Week 10 college football? Where did the time go, my man? Holy smoke. I
Yeah,
can't
I know,
believe
man. It's time is flying. We're almost to Halloween. A couple days, 2 days. Will be November 1st on Saturday, which will be a big Saturday for college football, which is what we're here to talk about. Let's recap. Last week we overall our record moved to 19-10, which is a 66% hit rate. Um, we Mike gave out Mississippi State cash plus 7.5 last week.
it.
Gave out
Where?
Iowa State minus 2.5, which we both were on, and they let us
Oh,
down in a big way.
oh,
I gave out Georgia Tech minus 14.5. They cashed that pretty easily. Gave out Memphis plus 6.5. Just the one game that I wish I would have sprinkled some money line on. I didn't. I really didn't think they were going to win that game. I thought they'd keep it close, but shockingly, they did end up winning that game, covering for us. And then, the loser that I gave out was LSU plus 3. Pretty
yeah.
shocking the way the first half went in that game, and then just second
Man.
half the wheels fall off. I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan. I guess maybe I should have just stayed off LSU, but I know you and I both really thought that was a fantastic spot for LSU. I can't believe they
Yeah.
blew that game.
It's so weird. And then talk about the wheels falling off, fell off for Brian Kelly, too. The second half so bad it got him fired. It's
Yeah.
like, wow. I went to bed thinking everything was good. LSU was leading. And I woke up the next morning. I'm like, what the heck happened? Lost by like 20 points, 21 points, something like that. It was just, I didn't see the second half, so I did, but it was obviously bad. It's just a really strange at home, too, at Tiger Stadium. That's just very, very
I think that
big head.
defense just kind of gave up on
Yeah.
Kelly there, and I was reading reports this morning that was saying that he never really had any relationships with his players.
Yeah.
Um, I don't really know how many players he actually had there that he fully recruited either, so I'm not sure how much of relationships he could have built there. But it just does sound like he didn't spend any time trying to get to know his current players, and I guess his I don't know his personality kind of stood out there in the end there.
A guy on our I have good intel on Brian Kelly, actually. A guy on our
Ooh.
staff played for him at Grand Valley State when he was
Oh,
coaching Grand Valley State way back in the day. And he said he was just a major punk, a very, very mean guy, not nice at all, never jokes around with players, didn't care anything about relationships. Just I've heard a lot of really just mean stories about Brian Kelly. So, you know, don't know if it's true. Can't believe everything you hear, but yeah, it sounds like that. Getting fired couldn't happen to a better guy. But we're not going to cry for him because he got a $54 million buyout to stay home this week. So
yeah, I know a lot of people are talking about the AD that signed him because now that guy's he is the one that hired Jimbo Fisher down at Texas A&M, and then now he's got Brian Kelly, so back to back coaches that he has hired. He has had to pay out over like $130 million to these coaches to not coach. Personally, I don't really know how that all works. I can't believe they don't have in their contracts, like, if you don't do a good job, why are they getting paid to go away? I've never understood that. There's no other profession you do a bad job, they're gonna pay you to go away. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer,
yeah,
you could do what we do.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not gonna
Only
stay
I
a
think
job if
only
you aren't
only
doing well. It's just crazy.
CEOs. I think some CEOs of large companies get nice buyouts if they get fired. But yeah, just head coaches and
Still,
CEOs.
again, there, how does that make any sense? If you come in and you don't do a good job and you cause the business to lose money,
Yeah,
why are they paying? None of that makes sense. I feel
makes
like
no
somebody's got
sense.
to step in at some point and change how that whole thing works
Well,
because
it
that
makes
is
no sense.
crazy to me. But
Now they
yeah,
have a clause. I did a deep dive because I'm kind of a nerd. I did a deep
yeah.
dive on Kelly's contract. They do have a clause in there that if he find when he gets another job, the buyout ends. Like they only got to pay him that.
Is he gonna get another job?
it's like 750 grand a month for the next how many ever months is what he gets. Can you imagine that per month? But anyway, but when he gets hired again, it stops. And one of the contingencies is he has to actively be looking for another job. And if he isn't applying, isn't trying, he'll somewhere, I think Brian Kelly's a good football coach. He ain't made for the SEC. He's better for up north. I think he'd be fine at Penn State probably.
Go back to Bowling Green. No, I mean, my buddy and I, we were chatting that maybe he should just go to somewhere like New Mexico State or
Yeah,
Nevada.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, go
Same
go
with James
somewhere.
Franklin. I don't think any of these big schools are going to want James Franklin or Brian Kelly right now. I think they both have to take a step back and go to like a San Diego State, Nevada. Now
Yeah.
they need to go to a
Last
Mountain West conference.
last rumor I read before we hopped on air was Virginia Tech was courting James Franklin very hard right now.
I can
Don't
see
know.
that. I can see James Franklin
That's
taking a
probably a
better
good.
position than Brian
It's
Kelly,
probably
but
good.
I would not.
Yeah,
If I were a Power 5, Power 4 conference, I wouldn't. I don't know if I would hire Brian Kelly right now.
yeah.
I'd have to really think hard about that one. But let's get into this week's plays.
Play,
I'm
play.
gonna kick us off
Let's
here,
go. Kicks off big wave. Let's roll.
and
Come
I'm
on,
gonna
baby.
go with Penn State under 12.5 points. That is minus 130 over on DraftKings. Right now, look, I just think this is a pretty good spot to continue to fade a Penn State team who now is in their, I believe this is their second game with their true freshman. Is it true freshman or is true sophomore quarterback? It's a second start. Now he's got to go to Ohio State, where they have been clearly the best defense in the country all year long. They have not allowed. Um, hold on, I'm gonna have to redo some of this. I'm just gonna have to re-edit this. I'm trying to pull up my information. I got it.
No worries.
The most points that they have allowed in a game this year was 16 to Illinois, and the books had their line set at 17.5, and they held them at 16, and that was on the road at Illinois. So at Ohio State at home, they have allowed 3 to Minnesota, and they've allowed 9 to Ohio. Now I played the 12.5. I don't mind going down to 10. I think they can hold Penn State under 10 here. I believe they can hold Penn State under 3 in the first half. So if you want to look at under 3.5 in the first half, I like that look. They're under they're juiced to like minus 250 to not even score a point in the first quarter. So books are obviously thinking they're at least going to score a couple points in the third. I think their line is 3.5. I would take that. And yeah, I just like this line there. Obviously, Ohio State is ranked number 1 in the country. They're allowing 5.9 points per game. And then when you look at overall on Penn State's offense, they are just Ohio State's defense has the advantage in every single area. Penn State is ranked 96th in the country in offense at only 355 yards per game, 5.6 yards per play, which is ranked 82nd in the country. That's just not going to cut it against an Ohio State team that is ranked second in the country, allowing 3.8 yards per play. Yeah, I just don't see how Penn State's going to move the ball in this Ohio State defense. We have seen how dominant they are. The only thing that scares me from taking these lower totals is, we still have a freshman quarterback on the Ohio State side. Maybe he throws a dumb interception, a pick six, or something like that. But I just don't see it happening. I think Ohio State's going to be pretty buttoned up here. I think they're going to run the ball quite a bit. I think they're going to find Jeremiah Smith over the middle, find him some easy targets. I don't think they're going to try to press Julian Sayin too much in this game. I think they're just going to allow the running game and the defense to take care of this game. I'm not sure if they're going to win by margin or not. That 20.5 is a lot. I think they should. They should just win this. I think they're just going to win this game like 45-10. To be honest with you. But it's just hard to say that when you got a Penn State team who should have some pride left. I just don't know. We've watched them lose 4 games now, coming off
Yep.
a loss to Northwestern and Iowa. I think preseason, if you said they were going to lose both of those games, we would have been pretty shocked. So, yeah, I just think Penn State's just going to keep keep losing here, and I'm just not sure how they're going to find a way in the end zone here.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, man, talk about the wheels falling off, man. This was supposed to be the year for James Franklin and Drew Aller, or Drew Alar. I don't know how you say it, either one. But, Aller gets hurt. That sucks. Really, they were just gutted, man. I really thought they would beat Oregon at home, that nice
Mhm.
whiteout game there. Them losing that, it's just the wheels fell off literally after that. Then they lose to a terrible UCLA team. They lose to a mediocre
Yep.
Northwestern team, an okay Iowa team, I guess, but yeah, you got to wonder, is Penn State, are they going to show up at all the rest of the season? Like you said, they've lost 4 in a row. And weird on this one, it just tells you how far this game's fallen. This is usually one of those games where it spreads anywhere between 3 and 7, typically. Pretty decent little rivalry. But with it being 20.5, like you said, just kind of tells you it's not going to be competitive. The total was interesting too, just the game total, 43.5. So they're not expecting Penn State to score any here. So I definitely lean that way. I don't know how Penn State scores really at all. They got a decent field goal kicker, so I guess he could kick a field goal or 2, maybe. That's pretty much it. I don't know how. Don't know how they're going to get in the red zone. And the Buckeyes are the best red zone defense in the country. I mean, it's insane. I mean, you nailed it. First in yards per, first in points per game allowed, second in yards per play, seventh in yards per rush allowed, fourth in yards per pass allowed, or just fourth in sack rates. And the poor freshman QB is going to be running for his life. Yeah, I think this is a good look, man. Under all the way for the Nittany
Yeah,
Lions.
and yeah, another thing I was gonna say too, last year, I think Penn State obviously was in a little bit better position coming into this game offensively after everything that's happened this year, and they only scored 13 points last year. The year before that, they only scored 12.
Yeah,
So I think the
yeah,
last 2
exactly.
years, they probably had a little bit better offenses. I know their running game is pretty awesome this year. I love both their running backs this year, but when you've got
Mhm.
a new quarterback stepping in this type of environment, I think this is a perfect hammer spot. So
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Good find, man. I like it a
thank you
lot.
very much. What is your first pick of the day?
Yeah, trying something a little different here. Gonna go with a couple first halves this week. We hit a
Yeah.
first half. I guess it was way back week 2 or 3. I guess with
Yeah.
Illinois over USC in the first half. Bad travel spot for USC. It was nice there. I'm gonna go with Florida Gators, man. In the first half, +4, -110. It's the best line I found at a faraway book. Can't say where. This is insane. You and I, we've for the last, what are we doing this, 3 years? We've
Mhm.
talked about how we don't usually look a lot at trends, and I
Yep.
don't either. We were just not big trends guys, but I found one I couldn't pass up. What if I told you Georgia in the first half has only covered one out of their last 14 games in the first half? Holy smoke. They're 1-13 in the first half, their last 14. That says something. But when you
Hmm.
think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? Kirby Smart is a very conservative coach. He approaches each game like a heavyweight fight. He wants to just kind of feel out his opponent a little bit. He's not in a rush. He ain't worried. He knows he's got plenty of athletes out there. And so he just kind of calls a real conservative game, him and Mike Bobo. Very conservative first half, but they come out in gangbusters second half. There's probably no better in-game adjustments coach than Kirby Smart, in my opinion. I mean, that's where he makes his hay. He dominates second half, but he struggles first half. Meanwhile, Gators tend to show up pretty well in the first half and struggle in the second half. So I love this +4 here in a rivalry game. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, by the way, is what they call this bad. What a great name for a rivalry. Gators have been good to me a couple times this year. They have burned me also a time or two down the stretch, but love getting the field goal in the first half. The rivalry game. Yeah, I get it. The dogs got way more to play for. They're still very much in the playoff hunt and the SEC hunt. But man, oh man, give me a rivalry team, the Gators, with nothing to lose, a team with nothing to lose, had their coach fired, and Billy Napier's gone. I think high motivation spot. A lot of times these rivalry games, the team with nothing to lose really wants to ruin their opponent's season. DJ Lagway, he's been bitten by the injury bug, not injury, but a turnover bug and a little bit of the injury bug this season. Already thrown 9 picks. That worries me a little bit here. But he reminded the whole world what he could do when he pulled a huge upset over Texas a few weeks ago, won outright as I think 8-point dogs. Expect a cleaner game from DJ in this one coming off the bye. I like the Gators to keep it close for the first half here. So yeah, jumped on the Gators +4 first half. Different look for me, but we're gonna roll with it.
I love it.
Woo!
Absolutely love it. This is a spot that I was not expecting you to come with, but I was actually looking at the Georgia full game, so this is an
Mhm.
interesting look. I'm probably gonna just not even play the full game now because I think the maybe this could be a little letdown spot for Georgia, and they may just squeak out of here with a W, and they may not walk in there and blow Florida out like I think some people think Georgia's gonna do. So
Yeah. They have the capability, but it's just with them tending to get off to just really slow starts. We saw it at Auburn.
yeah,
They were down
yeah,
what were they down what 17
yep,
zip at
yep,
Auburn? Like it
yep,
just good lord. And it's just several times throughout the year. Tennessee was up
yeah,
huge on Georgia, blew the
yeah.
game. They make those adjustments second half. So I'd probably look if you wanted to play the dogs big weight, if you're watching, I'd probably just wait around and see what number you can get second half on Georgia.
Well, they've always said Kirby Smart's probably the best in-game adjuster
Yeah,
in college football right now. So I
there
think
you go.
this obviously leans towards your first half. This leans towards maybe a second half look on Georgia. Maybe take Georgia second half -3. I don't know what the second half spread would be. It's probably
Sure.
it could be -2.5. I would doubt it's under 3 though. Maybe it
Yeah.
is. But if you're saying Georgia loses most of their first halves, that means they win most of their second halves, which
Yeah.
means the books probably have their
Wide
second half
margin.
a little bit more juiced. And maybe a line you wouldn't look at, but maybe I'm gonna actually gonna take a look at that second half line and see what those odds are, see what the line is. I guess pretty good look, man. I like both. I think tackle Florida State, cover first half,
Yeah,
Georgia to cover the
there you
second
go.
half,
Yeah, I like that.
cash
Coming off
both.
the bye, there you go. Yeah.
I think that's a sneaky look, my man.
Yeah,
Very
there
good.
you go.
Very good. All right, well, I'll get to my second pick here. I'm gonna go to the Tennessee game. I've been thinking about this game the last couple of days, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play it.
Let's do it. Let's
I
do
think
it.
it's the right spot. I'm taking Tennessee, Oklahoma over 55.5. You can get that on Profit X right now for minus 111, while it's like minus
Nice.
138 on Bet 365, minus 130 Fliff, minus 120 Bet Rivers, minus 125 Novig, minus 120 FanDuel. So you're just getting a little bit better value over on Profit X. Um, this is a tricky one only because Oklahoma's defense has been one of the best all year, like everybody has been talking about. They are rated top 10 in a lot of factors, but let's talk about that strength of schedule here a
Yeah.
little bit. It does say, according to Outlier, I know you may have Sagarin's numbers here. Outlier has them with the 34th best schedule. But when you look at it, when they played Ole Miss may have been the best offense they have faced all year last year, and they
Mm-hmm.
allowed 34 points and they lost that game.
Good
The
point.
games before that, they played South Carolina, Texas, Kent State, Auburn, Temple, Michigan. None of those teams are very explosive offensively. None of them put up a ton of numbers offensively. They finally play a team that can score and that can put up yards and put up numbers, and that game finally went over. So last week was the very first game Oklahoma went over this total. All other games this year, they have been under the total. Flip over to Tennessee side. Every single game this year has been over this total. They play in all high scoring games.
Yep.
Looking at the schedule right now, 57 at Alabama was the lowest scoring total. They have played at home against Arkansas. They had 65. Obviously, Arkansas is a high tempo team. Against UAB, they had 80. Against Georgia, obviously we know that was a high scoring game. They had 85 in that game. Eastern Tennessee State, they had 89 in that game. And then against Syracuse, they had 71 in that game. 45-26 win there. So overall, I think these are two teams that could be looking at some points here. Defensively, Tennessee allows 30 points a game, while offensively, Oklahoma scores right around 28. Now, when you dig into Oklahoma a little bit closer, this is kind of what got me starting to really think about this game a little bit more. Almost kept me off it, but I think this is a good spot. Against South Carolina, against Auburn, against Michigan, and against Mississippi State. They scored 24, 24, 26, and 26. There's something with Oklahoma that can't seem to get over that 27 mark. But now they face a team that allows 30 a game, and
Yeah.
at Neyland Stadium, there is a ton of energy.
Yep.
Tennesssee's defense isn't as good as last year,
That's
and we know
correct.
Tennessee's offense is very, very up tempo. They like to push the ball, and what I saw about John Mateer last week is that he came back really his first game back, I think, where he's feeling a little bit healthier. His yards per attempt was at 7.2. He hasn't thrown a yards per attempt at that since the game they played against Auburn, where he had 7.5, and they were able to put up 24 points. So I just think against this defense with him, John Mateer was one of the top quarterbacks coming into the country this year, top 5 Heisman. I know with his injury, it's held him back. I mean, a lot of people aren't thinking he's playing as well, but I think this is a game that he can get right. Tennessee's defense is going to allow them to make plays. They're not a very good running team, so they're going to have to be forced to be passing the ball, which makes me really like that yards per attempt last week since they can't really run the ball and they've struggled all year. Mateer is going to have to make plays, and he's one of the quarterbacks that I actually trust to make plays in the big spot. I think a lot of teams are expecting Oklahoma to drop the ball here. They're expecting him to maybe not play as well. This is a really big spot. Whoever wins this game could potentially still make it to the college football playoff.
Yep.
Whoever loses is probably done. So it's really tough to pick a side here because I can actually see John Mateer coming in here and winning this game outright. Um, kind of lean Tennessee -3, but I just trust Mateer to get right. I think he's going to play really well. I think their defense is going to play well enough, but I think this game is going to end up being somewhere around 30-27 for somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be a 33-30 game, but I think it's going to be a close game. But I do think we're going to see some points. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 55.5. If it does ever get under 55.5, obviously I would love to take that. I was looking at you can get 53.5 right now on Profit X for -142. So that's 2 points less than 55.5, and you can get -111. So if you're okay with that -142, which I debated it because I really like 53.5. I like that 54. Um, Tennessee landed on 54 twice last year, so that's the only reason I'm thinking if you're okay buying points, I'm suggesting go get the 53.5 because we've seen both these teams have landed on 54 a couple times the last couple years. So take 53.5 if you're okay with it, but for the show, we're gonna go 55.5. Give it a nice -111 odds for everybody. Give a little better long-term value there, and yeah, let's cash this baby. Let's get this up into the 60s or 70s, and let's have a good back and forth game, man.
Yeah, I think this is a rocking chair winner, Big Wade. I love this one. Very familiar with both these teams, being an
Yeah,
SEC guy. One thing I don't play a ton of totals, but what I like to do if I like an over
I
is to
know.
go down time possession stats. Neither one of these teams bleed the clock at all. Tennessee 136 in the country in time
Mm,
possession, quick scoring drives. Oklahoma a little bit better, but 80th. And so they're not really a
yeah,
big time possession team either.
yep.
You hit the nail on the head. The main reason I would like the over is just Mateer. Mateer's going to eat this Tennessee secondary
Mhm,
alive.
mhm.
Balls have a good pass rush. Problem is, secondary sucks.
Yeah,
101st in the country in yards per pass allowed. They should get burnt deep early and often in this one. And the flip side, Tennessee's going to score at least 30. I mean, that's just what they do. They have the
yeah,
offense. Josh Heupel is a brilliant offensive mind. He runs a similar scheme to Lane Kiffin. Sooners had all kind of problems last week with Kiffin's system.
yeah.
So Woo, baby. I mean, hell, that was at home. That was at home. What are they going to do here on the road
Correct.
on Rocky Top? I've been in that stadium, man. It is rowdy and nuts, and there's
Yeah,
going
I
to
think
be
that's a perfect environment for Mateer to want to really stand out. And like you said, with the fact that Tennessee gets to the quarterback, they rank 6th in the country in sacks, which I actually like because I think that's going to get Mateer on the move. And I think
oh
Mateer is
yeah,
actually a better player on the move, on the
mhm,
bootleg. So if they
definitely,
can get any success on the ground, they can
yep,
start throwing some play action in there for him. And oh boy, man, we could really see some points in
yeah,
this game. So
exactly,
I think this is a fantastic game. This is obviously one for, I think this is one for the college football playoffs. I mean, I think whoever wins this game is going to have
yeah,
enough momentum to keep winning out the rest of the year. So.
yeah. This is an elimination game. This is a play-in game, if you will. And another reason I like to over Sooners first in the country in red zone scoring position.
Yeah.
Tennessee's defense in the red zone just 121st.
No
Putrid.
bueno.
So we got the perfect. It's just like my Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. If you've got a good offense and a terrible defense, take the over every game. You're just going to come out ahead and love life. So this
Oh, yeah.
this this, this got 34-31 written all over it. It really does.
Yeah. 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 I like that score too. Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, man. Well, what is your last play?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the well here with the Children of the Corn, Nebraska plus 3.5 in the first half, minus 102 at FanDuel
Mm,
over USC. Kind of weird. I've kind of got this weird thing with Nebraska where I've bet on them at the right time and I've faded them at the right time. I faded them a few weeks ago against Minnesota. Minnesota won
yeah, you
outright.
have.
I bet on them against Michigan and we got away with a push plus 3. That was kind of disappointing, but anyway, I've had a decent read on the Huskers. USC, I don't like this about it though. USC's coming off a bye to get ready for this game. They lost a tough one, against Notre Dame. Typically like to bet on teams coming off a bye, but I think we're getting some line value in the first half here with the Huskers. Trojans are going to be more focused, but USC struggled mightily. We talked about fairness.
Hmm.
Struggled mightily on the highway this season. They not only lost to Notre Dame on the road, they lost to Illinois, who you and I both don't think is really that good. They lost to Illinois outright back in week 5 as big favorites. Their only road win so far is against a pretty bad Purdue team, who we talked about
Hmm.
also off air. Nebraska's played a terrible game last week against Northwestern. They still got away with a touchdown win. I think they were looking ahead to this game. This is a huge game for Nebraska here. I think we see a different squad under the lights in prime time on their home field in Big Red Nation. Roll with the first half for a few reasons here, Big Wave. When you look at it from a power rating standpoint, Huskers have been really good in the first half, not so good in the second. USC, again, kind of like we saw with Florida, Georgia, it's flip flop. USC is a very strong
Hmm.
second half team, usually sleepwalk in the first half here. Tough little travel spot here a little bit, not as much because it's a night game, but still, having to travel from the coast to what is Nebraska? Central time zone? I think it is. So it is a couple time zones away. It does kind of help us a little bit here. So I have the Huskers only a 1 point dog in the first half. So getting this over a field goal, I feel really good about. As far as the full game, though, only make it 5.5. So I really would interested in getting plus 6.5 for the full game on the corn. But yeah, I just think they bring their A game. Um, Nebraska 30th in the country in yards per pass. USC ranks just 87th in yards per pass allowed. Vulnerable secondary. Dylan Raiola, I need you, man. If you're supposed to be Mahomes Jr., this is the game to do it. Or at least just do it for a half for me, baby. You can turn it over 5 times, but do it in the second half. Let's go Huskers plus 3.5 first half.
I love this first half look because this is a game that I actually ran through my model, and
Hey,
my model has USC to win this game by 5.
hey, all right.
So if my model only likes them to win this game by 5, I think I love that first half. I think I absolutely love that.
Yeah,
I think Nebraska could actually cover and win the first half, and then
yeah,
they'll. I think second half. I do. I don't know. I came to the season really thinking Rayola could step up and take Nebraska to the next level, but I just think overall USC is the better team. I still think it's a slight step up in class for Nebraska here. So I like Nebraska first half with that travel spot, but then I think USC coming out second half. I think they might be able to separate and just win this game by 4, 5, 6. I think it'll be a close game, but I just think USC's got the better team. But this first half look, you've been really spot on with these first half looks. So if anybody really likes this play, I wouldn't be afraid to play this for 2 or 3%. To be honest with you, that's how much I like
appreciate
it.
it, man. Yeah, I love getting the -102 at FanDuel. Most of the rest of the market has this same line, but it's -115 ish. So it's like every little bit helps in sports betting, man. I mean, that 10 to 13 cents doesn't sound like a lot,
It
but it's
does, yeah.
just trusting the market. You know, this number should probably be a standard 110 at least, maybe -115 or 120. The fact we get almost basically even money. I was all over it. I wish they'd have hung 4, but oh well, it's fine. We'll take 3.5 all day long.
No, I think this is a really good spot, and yeah, I think that's about it. How I feel about
Sweet.
that.
Sweet. What do you got for us on the final play? Big
Yeah,
way
the
to make it
last
even 5.
play. We talked about this off air. Which one do
Yeah,
we
let's
want to
go.
play? And it's I think I've over the last 10 minutes I'm still like stewing with it back and forth in my head because I think both are pretty viable options.
Sure. Sure.
I guess I could talk about them both, but I think we're just gonna give out Purdue on team total
Yeah,
under 14.5. The
absolutely.
odds are -135 on DK. So if you are somebody who, well, I guess I can tell you that's a little bit of plus EV. It's -155 on MGM and -156 on FanDuel. So for the
Nice.
-135 price on DK, I don't hate it. If you're
Good.
somebody that just wants to get more of a closer line, you go down to 13.5. Now you're gonna have to play this at +115. So um, I don't hate the +115. I think that's a viable option. I think under 13
Mhm.
and a half, I think Purdue could get to 13. So if you want to stretch it, and if you're okay with, hey, if they end up at 14, don't hate me. But if you want to play the 13 and a half and they can stay under, they cash the plus money. I think I really do like that look. Michigan is coming off their last 2 home games against Wisconsin. They allowed 10, and then against a very good Washington team who is leaps and bounds better than Purdue at this current stage. Came into Michigan 2 weeks ago and they only scored 7 points. So I just think Michigan at home, I think they're going to be able to do some damage here. We saw Ryan Brown, who is the quarterback for Purdue, his last game when on the road at Northwestern, where they lost 19-0. He had a 3.1 yards per attempt. If you can't
Oof.
pass the ball, attempt longer than 3.1 against Northwestern. I'm not sure what they're going to do against this Michigan team, who has shown that their defense is still completely legit, one of the best in the country. They rank 23rd in yards allowed, 19th in yards per play at 4.7, 15th rush yards per game, 30th in rush attempts, 13th in yards per rush, and 55th in pass yards. They also rank 7th in the country in yards per completion, which is 9.6. So if they're only attempting 3.1 yards per attempt and they're holding teams to under 9.6 yards per completion, I'm not sure how many first downs Purdue's going to actually get in this game. Um, it's just tough. I'm not sure how they're going to get into the end in the red zone. If they do, I'm not sure how they're going to score. First downs on offense, Purdue does rank 58th in the country at 20, getting 21 a game, but um, I just don't think that's going to fly. It looks like Michigan ranks 35th in the country, allowing only 17 first downs in the whole game. So I think they can probably hold Purdue to right around 14 here. Um, I expect Purdue to have a lot of pass attempts because I expect them to be down in this game. The
Yeah.
other play that we potentially talked about was Michigan -20.
Mhm.
Um, the only reason I'm kind of shy about that game, about that play, is just because we've seen this year and last year, Michigan's just had trouble separating themselves from other teams. Even if they hold a team under 14 points, they still have a trouble scoring more than, I don't know, 27 or something like that. So either way, it's really hard for them to get to 30 plus. They've done it in a couple games. I think this is a game that they could. I do think I can see this game being like a 45-10 where Michigan, well, like we talked about, this is Bryce Underwood's 10th start. They've had a
Yep.
bye, I think. So ninth.
Yep.
ninth start. He's had 8 official games under him. So if they want to kind of open up the playbook here and let him pass a little bit, I think he can do that. As we talked off air, Purdue's pass defense isn't that great. They ranked 121st in pass attempts allowed. They rank 102nd in pass yards per game. They rank 120th in pass completions allowed. So I just think if they want to let him pass a little bit, I think they will find success there. And then obviously we both believe Michigan is just going to run the ball down their throats.
Yep.
What I like to see is Michigan get up 17-0 in the first half and then just run the ball in the second half and maybe let Purdue get in there and squeak in a touchdown field goal. Maybe they end up winning this game 40-10, something like that. But yeah, I don't see them. I don't think they're going to shut Purdue out. I respect Purdue's coach. They've got a pretty good coach on hand. They've been playing a lot better. Purdue did finish dead last in the Big Ten last year, and what we do know is that books like to undervalue those teams. Um,
Yeah.
so maybe they could cover the 21. So maybe that's kind of another reason why I think books are maybe undervaluing them just a little bit. I like their head coach, but yeah, we need to see a little bit more from Michigan's offense, I think, before we start taking -20s with them. But this is a good spot for that. So if you want to play it, I don't hate it. But yeah, let's just stick with the Purdue team total under 14.5. What do you
Yeah.
think, my man? You think we can get there
Yeah.
with this play?
Yeah, I love this one. I love that. I love a good under. Anytime I can find one, hadn't found as many this year, but yeah, just love the fact red zone scoring for the Boilers has been terrible. 123rd in the country in red zone scoring
Yeah.
percentage. Flip side, Michigan's D 23rd in red zone scoring percentage allowed. Also, Purdue third down conversion rate just 98. They don't keep a lot of drives going. That's usually a key to hitting an over. They got a decent field goal kicker, like talked off Eric. I see him
Yeah.
getting a couple field goals here, but yeah, I just don't see how they go over this number. I mean, even you got to think, even if Michigan puts their second string in, they're not probably going to let Purdue do too much here.
No.
And even Michigan playing their second, third string running backs, they're probably going to be able to just bleed the clock. So, yeah, team total, I think, is the way to go. I'm with you. I was thinking about laying the big number myself, but I just couldn't get in there. I really want an explosive offense. I'm going to lay 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
I
can't
know I
do
talked about Ryan Brown, the quarterback, a little bit. We have seen Purdue go to a 2 quarterback system a little bit last couple games. In
Yeah.
the game against Northwestern, they actually allowed Singleton to have 20 pass attempts to Brown's 10. So
Okay.
um, Singleton's played a
Interesting.
couple games here. He had 4 attempts against. Obviously, they're going to bring him in when they're getting blown out, but he had 4 attempts against Notre Dame. So we may not see Brown the whole game. So maybe that could throw Michigan in for a loop when they have to try to prepare for 2 different quarterbacks. But even with him, I just don't see how they're going to move the ball. So, yeah, I mean,
Yes.
the only thing that worries me is he's had a couple games where he's had 9.8 and 9.4 yards per attempt. So, with him, it looks like they let him pass the ball down the field a little bit more. So they may
Mhm.
be looking to bring him in and maybe move the ball a little bit more. So that could help Purdue a little bit. But yeah, overall, I just think this is a pretty good look. So let's break this down. And then we'll get into NFL for tomorrow at some point. We'll be releasing that video. So Mike gave out Florida plus 10 at -110.
Yeah. Plus
And
four.
Nebraska plus 3.5 at -102. And I gave out Penn State team total under 12.5 at -130. Oklahoma, Tennessee over 55.5 at -111. And then Purdue team total under 14.5 at -135. Again, we are 19-10 with a 66% hit rate. Mike, we usually expect a 4-1 day on these college football videos. Hopefully, we can have a sweep. We'll be dropping a giveaway on X at some point for this, so stay tuned. Make sure you guys go over and follow both me and Mike over on X. Check out the description below. You guys can see um, both of our links to our premium memberships as well as our social media accounts. And yes, Mike is bringing out the broom for good luck.
I got the broom, baby, because I want that 5-0 sweep, Wade. Let's go. Boom.
We're gonna bring the video back next week. Mike's gonna bring that same broom and he's just gonna sweep it across the screen.
That's right. That's right.
All right, baby. Let's cash these tickets. Mike, appreciate you as always. I guess we'll be back tomorrow. Try to talk some NFL football. So yeah,
You
let's
know it.
cash these and have a good one, guys.
Yeah. Thank y'all.